Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Um, I didn't really do any reacts yesterday because I was on a nice long date with my boyfriend. Did a little more karaoke last night. That's why I loaded a couple of videos of me singing. I don't get to monetize those because they're copyrighted songs, right? But we had a good time. We went, had burgers, and did a little singing, and had a good time. So I didn't. I've seen that we actually watched this one last night together, because we both like Unicorn Pondu quite a bit, and think he's pretty funny. I know that Chantel again shows her racial insensitivity in this one and her stupidity and ignorance, in a reference to brown music from the 70s. So I will be cringing when that comes up, and we were cringing last night when it came up, and just looking at each other like, what? Why would she even refer to it like that? But it is coming up, so heads up on that.
Well, hello everybody, how are we? My name is Unicorn Ponzu. Welcome back to another video. And Chantal uploaded another video. It's called Fajita Feast Cooking and Mukbang. So with that being said, let's see what Chantal has to say today, shall we?
Oh god, it looks like landing strips. I've never seen anything like that before in regards to fajitas. Like, she just really makes shit up. She's got a strip of freaking cheese, a strip of what looks like to be baked beans, like sweet Boston baked beans. Doesn't even make any sense, you guys. Alright, here goes.
Hi, welcome back to another video. Hello, so I'm going to start off these fajitas by seasoning some chicken tenderloins with some onion and garlic powder, some black pepper. I don't have chili powder. If you have chili powder, definitely use that.
By the way, the first thing my boyfriend said when he saw the chicken, and he's Tex-Mex, you guys, he said, that's not fajitas. Fajitas is beef. It's the flank steak, the flat steak that you cook up for fajitas. And you know, I've seen him grill this in the backyard and stuff. He comes from a very old, original Texas Mexican family that has lived there for, hundreds of years. And so he was pretty horrified by what she was putting together here, you guys.
Some cumin and also some hot sauce in lieu of the not having chili powder. Now, normally people use strips of onion and peppers. I'm going to use cut up chunks of onion and green pepper. Now I'm going to start cooking the chicken in a bit of butter and olive oil mixture.
You might as well have just called them tacos, because this is not the dish that you're intending to make. This is not correct. So you might as well have just called it tacos.
If you don't know about the Detox and Debloat by Jaya,
I'm going to add the peppers and onions to the chicken. And I'm just going to mix everything all around. I'm adding the onions and peppers now instead of when the chicken's more brown, because the vegetables, I want them to cook down very, very well. So I'm starting them now.
I don't know, still for me personally, I probably would have waited a bit, or maybe cook them separately so that way you can kind of control like how done they are. And that's just me.
Yes, cook it separately, because because you've got you're going to be putting those, I mean, if you're going to even remotely try and make fajitas out of this, you've got to cut those tenderloins into strips. And if they're not fully cooked yet, you're getting salmonella all over your vegetables at this point. I think, honestly, I just think she's too lazy to pull a pan out and have multiple burners going on.
Forgot tomatoes, and I don't have salsa, so I'm adding a little bit of tomato paste to the meat and onion and pepper, and this is what it looks like. I'm also going to add a little bit of water, maybe like half a cup, and the idea is to deglaze the bottom a bit. There's a little bit of burnt bits, but also just to make it very tender. This is after it's been cooking for about 20 minutes. As you can see, it made like a kind of sauce.
Tomato paste. That's going into your recipe, tomato paste. Okay. All right. Okay.
And it smells very fajita-like. I used to use this big can of beans as a doorstop, but I'm going to open them and use them today.
Wow.
I feel like that is the most Chantal thing I've ever heard in my life, honestly. Think about it.
Yeah.
I used to use this can of beans as a doorstop. Oh, I've heard it all.
It's a huge can, so I'm going to have beans for like 5 years.
Wow.
All right, here it is.
Well, number one, why?
No, you're not, because you've already opened the can. Now that it's open, what? What are you gonna put it in individual containers and freeze it? Because you're not gonna be able to keep it for 5 years. It's an open can.
Do you guys have a can of beans that big to begin with? I don't know. That's my question.
My fajita plate. Let's eat. Well, hello guys, hello. Welcome back to another video. So, today I have some homemade fajitas. They're not, my way of course, but just some chicken.
Oh, your way now. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Right.
With some peppers and onions, and the vegetables are very cooked down because, well, that's just how we like them, I guess, And we have some cheese, rice.
Or is it because you were cooking them with the chicken, and the chicken takes longer to cook than the vegetables, right?
Beans and Arabic fasoli, and some tortilla wraps here, chili flavor, and some lettuce and some sour cream. So, all right, bismillah. And
I will say, if you guys have never tried plain Greek yogurt, like not sweetened at all, I'm telling you, 99% just sour cream. It's the weirdest thing. I got it once and I thought oh, that'd be nice. Yeah, I was not expecting sour cream whenever I took a bite.
Some cranberry juice. And what I'm going to do is, my cat is already harassing me. All right, I'm going to start in. Make a fajita. Now, fajitas are messy, so I'm not really excited to eat them, but I'm hungry and they look good. So first things first, we're going to put down some of the chicken stuff.
And also, I've never made my own fajitas, to be fair, but is baked beans like that like a normal delicacy when it comes to that? Because I'm thinking that's more like, I don't know, just like regular beans and not so much like fajita beans? I don't know. Let me know.
Yeah, those look like Boston baked beans. They don't look anything remotely Spanish whatsoever. Normally fajitas would be served up with like black beans or refried beans.
Oh, some of the cheese. Okay, I love a lot of cheese on my fajitas. Some sour cream. Or sorry, this is not sour cream. This is yogurt. Sour yogurt. Plain yogurt. I love it. And some lettuce. Now, I don't have tomatoes. There you go.
Yeah, but it's like the full fat yogurt. So it really doesn't make a difference that she's not using sour cream.
I don't have tomatoes. I forgot them. That sucks. So I'm gonna fold it. All right, let's go. How does it taste like the old El Paso fajita mix you get in the box? It tastes like that, even though I didn't have all the seasonings.
All right, if you say so.
Yeah, I usually don't include her eating because it's Chantal eating. It's not like we haven't seen that before, but just Girlie's really going in on that taco, which, I mean, I don't blame her personally. I love tacos, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. She's really coping with that I'm sorry, fajita. She's coping with that fajita.
It's nice.
And also, we're eating the insides of the things that we make the fajitas with. Instead of making another fajita, we're just going to be eating them. I mean, you can. I would have personally made myself another fajita.
So, I don't know the full history of fajita. I looked some of it up, but I was too lazy to put a lot of effort into it. But basically, fajitas originated around, there's like record of them around in the 1930s. They think it comes from the word faja, which means strips. So it's like strips, originally strips of skirt steak. I'm sorry, but when I hear skirt steak, I think of Lady Gaga's meat dress. Anyway, there were...
That's because you're immature and stupid, and you don't have... you haven't really eaten a lot of things. You don't know how to cook, and... I mean, you obviously have eaten a lot of things, but you haven't tried a lot of new things, I guess is probably how I could say that a little bit better. And so, in regards to your culinary experience, you don't know a lot about food. All you've been doing is like shoveling carbs and junk down your pie hole without even chewing.
Mexican cowboys. And it's a Tex-Mex food, right? Well, these cowboys used to make strips of skirt steak with onions and peppers. It tastes the same as sour cream. Like, what's the difference?
And also, I sped her up because I'm not here for, like, low effort and not going to be able to do any sort of work, Chantal, with, especially with fajitas, like a delicious food. No. Mm-mm.
So, yeah, traditionally, I mean, people usually eat this with, so it's like strips of meat. Because you can have steak fajitas with peppers and onions.
And she's not happy with this one, just like her facial expressions, even though I do have her sped up slightly, I think you can tell. Girlie, what happened?
Now, every time I eat fajitas, I think of a memory I had growing up as a kid.
Oh, here we go.
And I was probably around, like, 9 or 10. And I had a lot of friends I didn't even like. When you're a kid, you just have classmates, and it's just like, one day they're just like, do you want to sleep over? And you're like, sure, why not? You got invited to a sleepover. It was just me and this one girlfriend that I had. Now,
I don't know why she always is dipping into really old childhood memories like that. Like, it's as if her 20s and 30s don't exist. You know? She rarely has any anecdotal, relatable stories to tell that occurred during her adulthood. It's very bizarre.
I never really told the truth about the people whose homes I slept over at. Because, at least this girl. Because my mom would have never let me go back.
Discover a sleep solution that...
Noticing a lot of blinking and looking up. Yeah, so that's generally that. So noticing a lot of blinking and looking up, that is generally a tell for Chantal that she's making something up. This is one of her tall tales. It probably did not happen. Kind of like, I think the other one that she jumped into was a story of how she was on welfare at age 5, and some other live streamers have already pointed out that her stepfather was already in the picture at age 5, so those stories had to be made up too.
Well, they were always going out and coming home late anytime I would sleep over.
And it only happens when she's about to continue the story. Okay.
And they would let us, like, kind of party with them. Like, just, like, they would be in the living room having some beers, and they'd always have friends over and loud music. I remember them playing, you ain't seen nothing yet. Baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. That kind of music. And I call it brown 70s music. I don't know why. It's just how my mind always associates that music. I liked that song back in the day.
Hold on.
Nothing yet. That kind of music. And I call it brown 70s music. I don't know why. It's just how my mind always...
That's super offensive, though, Chantel. Why would you do that? Like, don't you ever, like, reflect back on your live streams and your mukbangs and your videos and hear the feedback of when you're being bigoted or racially insensitive or anti-Semitic? Like, don't you look at these things and think, okay, maybe I could be a little bit better about the kind of language that I use? Oh my God, with her.
That's kind of a weird name to give it. Golly.
I was really hoping that it was...
associates that music. I liked that song back in the day. Anyway, so we'll just make one more.
Let me go back to that.
I'll use all the chicken.
Let's go back to that because I didn't get to read it. Move my control panel out of the way. So I was really hoping that it was a term I'd never heard of before, but after ending recording, everyone on Twitter also just as confused as to why she said that. Gross, Chantal. All right.
Associates that music. I liked that song back in the day. Anyway, so we'll just make one more. I'll use all the chicken. It's gonna be a huge one. So on this occasion, I was sleeping over and we were sleeping. We would sleep like on the floor in front of the TV, and they would let the movie network play like all. Remember when like the satellite had like the movie network? They would let it play all night, and I would just like fall asleep to that. I'd try to. I wouldn't sleep well, but we slept on the floor with like a blanket and pillow, and they never vacuumed their floor. So I remember like always waking up with like crumb indentation marks on my forearm because my forearm would overpass the blanket. Anyway, to make matters worse, they had a gerbil named, I think it was Patches, and I hope this person doesn't watch my videos. The little kibble bits would be like all on the ground. So anyway, we're sleeping, and then like...
Why? What are they doing feeding their gerbil right out in the open on the ground like that? This again seems like a made-up story. It doesn't seem real. I think she likes to have this backstory of my life was so poor and everybody was so dirty, and that's why I became the foodie beauty that I am, who was with Nader and Pete's and, you know, not cleaning my bedroom and, you know, not cleaning anything really. I think that's where this comes from, is she wants to be like, I had such a traumatic childhood of, you know, going and having slumber parties where I had to sleep on a dirty floor. Okay. So says you.
I don't know, it must have been like middle of the night, don't know what time, late, and we hear the door fly open and like a loud noise. It was the dad, I think it was her stepdad and her mom. They were back from like a party or the bar or somewhere where adults went. I didn't know. I didn't understand where they went and how it worked. All I know is I always thought they were a hoot because, you know, at my house I had to go to bed early usually, and at the time I thought, I don't have cool parents like this. Fajita taco.
Fajita taco.
Oh well.
Oh my God, Chantal. Again, I usually don't include her eating, but like in this one in particular, it is a thicking doozy, dude. Jesus.
I got home, and the living room was like, the kitchen was like, they were kind of attached. Turning on all the lights in the kitchen, like...
The top comment on Unicorn Pondu's video, because I will be, you know, kind of clipping this so you won't see it. But the top comment that's coming up says, as a Mexican, I am offended. Well, I'll tell you, my boyfriend too was shocked by like what she was doing with this. She honestly, all she had to do is say, I'm going to make some chicken soft tacos, right? And then she wouldn't have the fajita debate. But she always tries to like be all bourgeois about what she's doing.
All right, who's ready for some fajitas? And me, of course, being the food monster I was. My ears
And still are.
All I'm gonna say is was.
perked up, and I was like, oh yeah, I could go for some fajitas. It was probably like 2 in the morning. They're making 2 or 3 in the morning. They're making fajitas, and we had fajitas. Even patches. I remember the movie that was playing. It was called. You guys probably know this movie, but Death Becomes Her. Some friends I didn't like sleeping at their house, and I would ask my mom to come get me because I got homesick. But her, never. Yeah, it was interesting to say the least. They were. So if I told my mom that, first of all, that her parents were going out and leaving us alone while I was overnight.
Is this what these videos are going to be turning into? Just a bunch of like 25, 30-year-old stories, girl? Stop. And it's just. This is so bad. This is why I sped it up to 1.5 early on, because I knew it was going to be awful, and I was right. Good job, me, for calling it early.
Technically, her parents would ask her older sister to watch us, keep an eye on us. She never did. She stayed locked in her room, playing 7 Minutes in Heaven with her boyfriend.
Okay, are we really holding grudges over, I don't know, a teenager that, never was in the story up until this point? There's a lot to unpack in this story, and I don't think I want to spend the mental power trying to do so.
Yeah, I know that, because she told us.
Yeah, well, probably my guess is that they didn't ask her to, come down and sit with you in the same room at all times and make sure that you were... She probably was just there so that if you had an emergency, you could knock on her door and she could call the police, right? That's usually all babysitters do anyway. They might, prepare a meal. It depends on what age you are, but it sounds like you were maybe... I don't think you've established how old you were, but it sounds like a high school story to me. I mean... I don't know.
Fajitas are so messy. Anyway.
I mean, fajitas aren't necessarily messy. It might be the person eating them that might be the problem in this situation.
Yep.
I remember seeing her boyfriend once. He came downstairs, thought he was going home. And one of my favorite movies as a kid was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I just remember thinking, her boyfriend reminds me of one of the weasels. Not the one that's not the con boss one, mafia boss one, but the one that's always giggling,
Oh, isn't that funny? Look who you married. Yeah. Oh, irony sometimes is bittersweet to say the least. Yeah.
He laughed like that.
Ma'am, look who you married.
I know.
And you reminded me of a hedgehog. I don't know, it might have been the haircut. Anyway.
I really don't know why Chantel thinks that she can criticize anybody's partners. It's pretty amazing because she has picked some of the most disgusting dudes I've ever seen, and she's constantly like, "Where's your husband? This is my husband." Oh, really? We haven't seen him. Like you did one performative hamster drop off. You did a little hamster drop off. Okay. You are not washing his clothes when, first of all, I don't even think you're washing yours, because as Frenchie pointed out, the clothes that you moved from the washer to the dryer were dry. Did you actually run a load or what? But it was all your clothes. The breakfast was for you. Every meal that you make is for you. You're constantly saying that you're cooking for two, but you put everything that you cook in the kitchen, you put on your plate. So how is that only cooking for you? I mean, how is that cooking for your husband? I don't think you are cooking for your husband. And he's probably trying to figure out how to alter his diet now that he had to have his gallbladder out because he's been hanging out with you for over a year.
I have so many of these beans. I'm gonna have to eat them every day.
Wow.
I have never once in my life been so happy for her to be done with food. I cannot tell you. I will be editing out 98% of it, but I need to let you guys know that was awful. If me of all people have to stop mid-video and tell you about how bad that was, oh my god.
So this is day 2 of me making the food.
And will we get a day 3? Probably not.
Very delicious. Anyway, that's my experience with fajitas. That's what I remember the most, is those 2 a.m. fajitas with patches and death becomes her at like 10 years old. Anyways, guys, thank you for having dinner with me.
Okay, thank God. So, that was awful, and honestly, I really don't want to talk about it. If this is what these videos are going to be turning into, we are fucked. Because, like, they were unwatchable pretty much to begin with, don't get me wrong. But, like, this one in particular, no. That was awful. Yeah. But with that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Thanks, Unicorn Pandu, for your coverage of this and for always being cool about letting people like me tag along. I am now going to pull in some just barbecue chillin' also covered. A lot of channels covered this particular mukbang, and at the end of her video she includes comments that were captured, so let me see if I can include that as well. Okay, so this one's from Barbecue Chillin's channel, and she captured the comments. I've got this on a really slow speed so I can hopefully read it. You are going to be so sorry as you get older that you didn't take care of your diabetes. I know this. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. I really slowed it down, you guys. I only want to watch you eat right and get healthy. Come on now. We love you. Get it together. Love how you're not ashamed to film your binges like this. As someone with an eating disorder, too, I'm glad you aren't shy about who you are. It's really brave of you to film your binge like this. There was over 1,000 calories in the oil that soaked into all that. That's the thing, though. She knows, you guys. She knows. She knows that she's killing herself with food. She unaliving herself with food. And that it's a self-harm channel. It's a fetish channel. She knows exactly what she's doing. And she's always had... from what I can tell, from all the content I've watched back at this point, her entire shtick is to be as disgusting as possible. That's like part of her fetish, I guess. You should eat half of that plate. There's too much carbs. Try eating more protein-rich diet. It will fill you up quicker and fuller for a longer time. I don't even know if, like, upping the protein. I think she actually needs to kind of regulate protein, too, because there's some issues, I think, with her digestive, in which processing protein could end up being a problem for her. So she probably shouldn't have more than like a 3-ounce piece of chicken or fish or whatever when she's eating a meal, because she needs to regulate it. It's going to be too much for her. She really needs to up how many vegetables she's eating. She's got to like increase those broccoli sprouts, Brussels sprouts, my apologies. But she also got broccoli. I never see her really... Well, no, she did buy carrots, and then she pickled them. So, like, that kind of defeats the purpose, because you've injected a ton of sodium into the carrots at that point. But she should be eating squash and zucchini, and, you know, they're going to have some supply issues really soon, you guys, because Yemen has done a blockade of the waters up there, the Persian Gulf, and they are preventing any ships that are involved in the current warfare, which is like U.S. They're not directly involved. These are like commercial ships, but they are connected to countries that are involved in warfare, right? So U.S. ships, UK ships, I think there's some European countries. So they are going to have a very serious supply chain issue very soon. I don't know. She said something about them getting produce from Syria, I think, or he's a Syrian refugee, right? Like her husband in air quotes. It's a local neighboring country, but it depends on supply and demand, really. Like, if the supply chain has been cut off so severely, then all of the neighboring countries that need food are going to be seeking out the same sources for that food, which is going to put a high demand on food, and prices are going to go way the hell up. That's why she doesn't buy cottage cheese anymore. She was complaining about it being somewhere around $9 or something. It's already started, right? Okay, I guess that's it. So, thank you to Unicorn Pondue and to Barbecue Chillin' for capturing the content and allowing smaller channels like me to use it as base content so that we can have commentary as well without clicking directly on her channel. Because we don't want to give her that level of support. Just being real. Do not want to give her that level of support, you guys. Anyway, I'll drop the links to both of the original videos if you want to watch Unicorn Pondue, or you want to watch Barbecue Chillin' without me interjecting. You can most certainly do that. I hope everybody's ready to have a great weekend, right? Working for the weekend.